Hey, what's up? Shuckle King here, bringing you a recap of Season 3 of SPL. I'm going to try to make this a quick overview. You can see on the screen here, I have all the Pokemon I had on my team, even the Pokemon that I had for part of the season, like Colossal and Zapdos, and Pokemon I picked up at the end of this season. I have a tiers of exceeding the expectations, so based on the point values of the Pokemon, would I draft them for sure in the future? If I met expectations, they were like fine for their role, I would consider drafting them in the future, but that's not like they were great value. Like they were fine for the point values that they were, nothing special. And below expectations, probably not something I would get in the future, but maybe even in general for SPL Season 3 was VGC. So definitely something new and something I was not experienced in. I went to one VGC tournament and went 5-2 and missed the last game to make day 2, which would have been cool. But in terms of Draft League, shoutouts to Cypher, K-Millie, Case, Tone, Plant, Vinny, and Sven. They were all people that helped me throughout this VGC season and really appreciate all their support. They all know doubles more than me. Maybe outside of Tone, I'll call out Tone. But no, Tone was a very big help, and I appreciate him, and I appreciate everybody. Going into VGC draft, this was something I wanted to do for a while, and I brought it up to AIM a while ago, and I think he finally got, obviously he got convinced of it because we did a full season of it, and I think he's fine dipping his toes in it. I wouldn't be surprised if we ran another VGC SPL in the future, but maybe not right away. Obviously, you guys know for SPL Season 4, we're going to be doing a almost any ability league, which is going to be very fun. That's going to be crazy. I got to start prepping for my week 1 game. But anyway, yeah, we will go over this. So I think for doubles draft, like in the drafting phase, I feel like my general intuition about drafting even as singles player was definitely a good thing. Now there's things in doubles that I think you should look for, and drafting like cores of Pokemon and such is definitely important, but I think I overestimated a little bit of what are just generally good VGC staples as opposed to what I think can work in a draft. In a draft, sure, you want to have good cores, but you want to have versatility with your Pokemon. And I feel like a lot of the Pokemon I drafted this season were pretty linear, and it made team building generally tough. And I like to be a pretty wild and crazy team builder here, so kind of unfortunate. I mean, I won 5-3, so honestly, I can't complain. And what I finished 9th, 10th. I pull up the doc here. I think I was like, I mean, I definitely was in that range. Let's see the standings. I finished in 9th, so like honestly can't complain that much about that. I'm very close away from finishing in 6th place, so that is a pretty good finish for someone that focuses on singles. But again, I think this was more of draft than necessarily doubles, so interesting there. But yeah, I would definitely want to draft a different team for the future. But yeah, in terms of the Pokemon I had, so first Pokemon was Riolu for 2 points. Was it worth it? I would say this Pokemon exceeded expectations. For a 2-point mon, it's hard to have that many expectations initially, but I thought Riolu had a lot of really cool options. And honestly, it would have been highlighted by my week 3 game against Joe Ugarte, which I was not able to play, but the team was based around Riolu with Protect, Screech, Coaching, and Copycat. But mainly it's coaching into Ursafu, coaching into Landorus. Even in mocks, I was coaching into Sinesta and just giving it defense boost against his gouging fire. Like I was able to beat that one-on-one, especially with heat proof. Riolu was really nice. Also had the in week 6, I had the option of Rain to negate Torkoal's Sun from Nexus week 6. So just really neat options that Riolu has as a support Pokemon. Didn't bring it to any games this season, but it was in the build for week 6, and like I did really well in mocks in the games I brought Riolu. I just, based on his team, based on Nexus team, I didn't feel like I needed the Riolu. And week 3, I 100% would have brought Riolu. And it's just unfortunate I didn't get to play that game. So Riolu definitely exceeded my expectations. The Colossal was below, I'm going to say below, even though it's a 2-point Pokemon. I had expectation for sure for Colossal with both all the abilities here, Steam Engine, Flash, Flame Body, and Flash Fire. I thought all there would be like legit abilities, like Flash Fire. I could get a boost from like Ember, Talonflame, and a Colossal, and that could activate both Steam Engine and Flash Fire, depending if I wanted strong fire moves. Flame Body is just nicer to burn, and that was in combination with having Static on Zapdos. If you physically attacked me, then you had chances of inflicting damage onto yourself, which seemed pretty cool, especially with like a Persian fur coat doubling the defense there. Even Talonflame could be Flame Body, but I never brought Flame Body Talonflame. I don't think I'm pretty sure I didn't. Yeah, Colossal was just really weak, and I feel like if you wanted to maximize like the full strength of Colossal, you wanted to Terra it, and that's not a Pokemon you want to Terra when you have Zapdos, when you have Ursafu, when you have Landorus on the team. Like all three of those Pokemon really want the option to Terra. I guess Thorns as well, but Thorns is like my other rock type. Base 80 attacks are just really too weak to get that much of a boost. And you could go for weakness policy, so I could like weakness side Aqua Jet into a Colossal. But if you go weakness policy, I'm doing like 30-40% with an Aqua Jet in a class if I like Terra into a fire type, so that way I'm not 4 times weak to it, because otherwise I'm taking 60-70%, and then it might not be that worth it. Now you could get like a +2 attack and have +6 speed with Steam Engine and hope it works out. And I kind of was the thought process week 5 against Doan, trying a type of strategy with Absorb Bulb, but that was a tough strategy to work on. It just required a lot of resources to make Colossal work. Not worth it. Iron Thorns, I would say it met my expectations. Now, it was a 5-point Pokemon, which, I mean, it has stats, so you figured it should be able to do stuff for 5 points. Not the strongest attack. 134 is definitely nice, but it has a ton of weaknesses, so, like, it doesn't have a lot of opportunities to set up Dragon Dances and requires like decent amount of support. Same with the Sinesta, but at least with the attack, I mean, it's 134 is really good. The coverage is like okay, like, and a lot of the electric coverage like has downsides, like Wild Charge is hurt yourself. Thunder Punch doesn't hit that hard. Supercell Slam has drawbacks of Protect and all that. And Rock Slide is good, obviously with Iron Thorns. So yeah, this Pokemon was definitely fine. I was fine to Terra this Pokemon because of such a high attack. And it lessened the burden of Landorus having to be a big physical attacker. Obviously, Ursafu came to every game, and it's always going to be hitting hard. But Landorus felt like it had to be that secondary Pokemon to deal damage. And with Iron Thorns in the team, like, it opened up Landorus to do other things. So Iron Thorns I thought was definitely fine. Alolan Persian, I'm going to put in the I think Alolan Persian next Pokemon. I'm gonna put that in the met expectations. It was for 10 points, so definitely a decent point value. And I wanted a fake out Pokemon in a Dark type. And Persian fit that role. Expensive. Another Pokemon I remember considering drafting was the Morgrem, which I think was 4 points. And it gave me Prankster screens and all that. But week 2 against Necra, I mean, this was definitely the MVP Pokemon. Being able to Icy Wind and Snarl, just lower stats, both stats of the opposing Pokemon is super nice. So Persian was a pretty reliable support Pokemon. Not doing a ton of damage. I had Technician against Chase week 4. Technician snarled, and Icy Wind to do like a little bit more damage into the Flutter main team, but it still didn't do much because I had Focus Sash and it didn't matter there. But I thought Fur Coat plus Assault Vest, like I had week 2, was just a really like nice combo to like invest in your HP and then have like decent defense and decent special defense with the Assault Vest. Like, you take hits fine. You just can't use Parting Shot, unfortunately. But Persian was definitely okay. Frostmoth, I'm going to put it in the neutral as well. This was a 5-point Pokemon. I brought this against Chase, and I brought this in playoffs. So I've only brought it 2 games, which I think for a 5-point Pokemon is fine. To bring it to like 2 or 3 games is probably the expectation I had for it. Ice Scales, obviously really neat. Against Chase, I did definitely consider bringing Shield Dust to not get affected by Fake Out from Hariyama and deal damage like under Trick Room. I think that was like an option I had there against him. But Ice Scales just receiving half damage from like a Flutter Mane attack seems pretty nice. But you are weak to rock and you're weak to fire, so that is definitely a downside. Just a weakness there, and you also can't hit steals unless if you commit your Terra, which is fine. But again, I have a Zapdos, Landorus, and Ursafu that all really wanted the Terra. Ursafu with Terra especially, it just makes it so broken, and Zapdos, Landorus get more coverage for it. So it was really hard to invest into this, and I feel like you wanted the Terra a lot. Now, you didn't have to. Terra with Frostmoth, and like you're fine. You just have limited coverage to hit Pokemon. But also had it has cool support moves like Wide Guard. I don't think I used Frostmoth in the last game. It was only for niche circumstances like Trick Room, and Trick Room did beat me anyway, so maybe I should have considered Frostmoth more in my playoff game. But yeah, Frostmoth was fine for a 5-point Wide Guard Pokemon. Decent special attack, very good special attack, very high special defense, so I think it was okay. Next Pokemon we got is Orthworm for 4 points. It was not worth it. Again, this is all me building teams and what I like and such. This won me the game week 2, having Rest and Iron Defense. But I really feel like this was the only set I could realistically bring. Now, Shed's Tail was not banned, so like that's something I could have brought. And that seems like a fun pivoting move. Obviously, it's broken in singles, but Orthworm's too slow. I guess being slow is fine, and you can invest a Citrus Berry on the Orthworm to like make sure you live the hit, and then you pass it. I didn't really go into that. Like, the offenses are great here. It's weird. Orthworm is weak to fire and doesn't want to take water moves, and fighting moves are weak to like. And the coverage of Orthworm wasn't great, with Body Press and Steel being the only coverage moves. A lot of teams ran Ghost to handle Ursafu, so this is just another Pokemon that can't really handle Ghost types. So Orthworm felt really bad. The special defense was really low, so you feel like you have to invest a lot into this, and then you're not boosting your attack as much. With Body Press going into defensive, like this is definitely fine. It didn't really offer anything in terms of team support. Like, Orthworm just works fine on its own, I guess, unless you're really working on passing with Shed Tail. There it is. But didn't make that work with the Orthworm. Didn't think it was like versatile enough, and I didn't think Shed Tail was like something I really wanted to utilize with this team. Zapdos for 16 points. Didn't think was worth it, below my expectations. Zapdos, I did bring it every week for the first 5 weeks, and I felt like I had to bring it because it was my highest special attacker. I also had Sinesta, which has really good special attack. Let's see, it's like 121. So that's really high. Zapdos has 125. So like they were my 2 special attackers on the team. I did bring special attacking Landorus once, but I feel like a lot of times you want to run physical with this. But yeah, one is Hurricane can miss. Now, I don't really care about that being a singles player. I'll click Hurricane and that's fine. But you really don't have an alternative option. It's not like Tornadoes can run Air Slash to make sure you hit. So definitely unfortunate there for the Zapdos. But Zapdos really only has electric, flying. Fire coverage is fine. Heat Wave. Its spread move, which there's pluses and minuses there. Like, it just doesn't hit as hard because you're hitting 2 Pokemon. You're dealing like more damage overall, but sometimes you just want to deal like a lot of damage into one Pokemon, and Zapdos kind of felt like it was tough to do that with. Discharge is cool, but it hits your teammate as well. So I felt like Terra Blast, using Terra on Zapdos was like the best way to get the most effort out of Zapdos. Like giving it coverage outside of electric and flying. I don't even know. I probably ran Heat Wave like once or twice this season. There's one and didn't run it there. Yeah, I felt like it was tough running Heat Wave generally on his Pokemon. I think it was a fine secondary Tailwind user, but don't think I ran Roost. It's just too hard to keep longevity here. Citrus is fine. Static, I think, was generally overrated as an ability there. You could avoid physical contact, and there's enough physical moves that don't make contact anyway. Like Rock Slide, Stone Edge are just very prevalent moves, and they're ignoring static. So Zapdos was tough. I think on a rain team where you can use Weather Ball would be significantly better with Zapdos. I think even then, 16 points seems a little expensive for Zapdos when you probably would prefer to get a Thundurus T or Thunder's Eye. I think they have more versatility, but Zapdos wasn't worth it. Let's see. Ldios, I'm going to say exceeded my expectations for 13 points, but getting it I felt really good, honestly, maybe week 4, making the change to Ldios, but I thought Zapdos was better in the Chases team, and with the schedule and a lot of things being late with the season in general, I wasn't being able to make the change for week 5 to bring Ldios onto the team. So I had a week 6 and brought it to 3 out of the 4 games it was available for. Yeah, this Pokemon has the versatility that I'm looking for. It has just a lot of coverage moves, fighting moves, ice, grass, psychic, dragon, obviously, water, electric. Like, it just has a lot of coverage moves. And a lot of the Pokemon before this didn't really have it. Maybe outside of Iron Thorns has like pretty good versatility there in moves. But outside of that, I feel like all the Pokemon before this pretty much had their stabs and maybe one other coverage move in terms of like the options they had to hit things. So like very predictable. So Ldios has a lot more versatility there. Could be the Tailwind user, was a faster speed, which felt nice. 110 speed tier seems pretty good as like an elite speed in this metagame, and had Heal Pulse. It had a lot more supporting options than Zapdos did. And it was also 3 points cheaper, so a little bit less special attack, but Draco Meteor and Mist Ball are probably better than Hurricane and Thunderbolt, with Mist Ball having like the side effect being a lot better. So Ldios definitely felt really good on this team. Sinesta for 17 points. I'm going to say exceeded my expectations. Really enjoyed Sinesta. That might have been the favorite Pokemon I used, and I've wanted to use it in singles in a while anyway. And a lot of times I ran Heat Proof. I think it was only 1 week where I ran Hospitality, which is like usually the default ability on Sinesta, and maybe that was a weakness of the team. I think it was week 7. No, it wasn't. When did I run it? I ran it once. Hospitality. There you go. Against James. Yeah. So Sinesta, yeah, maybe it showed my team's a little too weak to fire, and then Ldios helped it out a little bit, but still Heat Proof was just nice to have an extra resistance there versus Hospitality. I wasn't switching out a ton with this team. Like, I had options of U-turn spam with Zapdos, Landorus, and Ursafu, and Talonflame, I guess, but I didn't really utilize that too much to make like use of Hospitality, just because my team was pretty frail. Sinesta was really here for anti-Trick Room, and I ran the set a couple times. Let's see, in playoffs I ran it, and it didn't really work out, but Trick Room plus Imprison, because my team was really fast, I guess outside of the Colossal, and then I traded it away. My team was fast, so Sinesta was here to try to Trick Room Imprison. Also handles Ursalunas, both of them, like pretty fine, which are probably the 2 biggest threats under Trick Room. And then maybe like the Calyrex, I guess, would be the next The next strongest thing? No, Glastrier. Yeah, that's the horse. I figured that wasn't right. Yeah, so maybe Glastrier is like another slow, really strong attacker, but I figured I had other things on the team to handle that. So Sinesta felt really good into Anti-Trick Room, into Ursalunas. And then Shadow Ball was nice. Machigotch is obviously a broken move that I didn't click as often. A lot of times I felt like I wanted one attacking move. So I wanted Rage Powder, I wanted Strength Sap. Then a lot of times I ran Nasty Plot plus Shadow Ball, or I just ran Dual Stabs, or I ran the Trick Room and Prison set. Citrus Berry almost all the time on Sinistcha felt really nice for that burst of recovery, and then I recover even more at Strength Sap. Sinistcha felt really nice in this team as a support. And also could deal decent damage. It was my second biggest special attacking Pokemon, so definitely needed it for that support. Talonflame, was it worth it? I'm going to say it met my expectations. Now I'm like, Talonflame is probably in my top 5 like least favorite singles draft league Pokemon. Like out of all like the somewhat viable Pokemon. I mean, you guys know that it's Bronzong number 1, but Talonflame is definitely up there. It's the speed is super, super nice, and like having heavy duty boots and like live one hit and you can go for a priority Brave Bird is really nice. And like it's the same thing in this, just you don't have to worry about rocks, so you can write an item on a Talonflame, and then obviously a lot of times you're around Tailwind. I felt like this mon was very one-dimensional. Now I could have ran, I guess, more defensive sets like Feather Dance sets, or I could have ran like Rain Dance and utilized the Pokemon that benefited from that, like Zapdos and Ursafu benefited from the rain there. They were avenues I like considered in building teams, but didn't end up going down. And then Talonflame felt pretty predictable and one-dimensional. It's still it's very elite in setting up Tailwind. I know at this point I was either debating getting the Roaring mid or getting the Talonflame, and I think ultimately I'm fine picking up the Talonflame over the Roaring Moon, but I think both would have been fine there. It would have been interesting. Just like having regrets to have that. Just would have been a lot stronger for an attacker. 81 attack is pretty weak, even though you have really strong moves in Brave Bird and Flare Blitz. But yeah, also having Brave Bird and then you break your Gale Wings and then you don't have the speed. Though you set up Tailwind initially, you're probably faster than everything though. So Talonflame, definitely fine. Landorus, I'm going to put at below my expectations at 18 points. I wanted this to do a lot, and I had a lot of cool combinations, and I was trying to really set up the team for Landorus to shine with having Talonflame, Sinistcha, Zapdos, Ldios, all being immune or resistant to Earthquake, and then I could just spam Earthquakes with my Landorus and just hit really nice. Stomping Tantrum felt pretty weak. It hits the same power as Earthquake, and Earthquake hits everything. Yeah, as opposed to high horsepower, Stomping Tantrum was not that great. But Landorus, again, lack of versatility. Earthquake, Stomping Tantrum, Rock Slide, U-Turn. I feel like this was a set I had to run pretty much every week. Now, I ran Swords Dance. I ran a weird special set with the Fissure once, and that obviously was fun. But not having a Stab Flying move definitely hurts on Landorus. And then it just forces you to Terra. Also, not having Knockoff, which it lost a while ago. Having, like Landorus, Landorus lost moves throughout the generations, but it was still regarded as really, really nice. Intimidate didn't feel that impactful for an 18-point Pokemon in Landorus. Like Intimidate's obviously great, but I could have gotten that on a cheaper Pokemon. So yeah, Landorus, I wasn't too impressed by it. And last Pokemon, Ursafu, exceeded my expectations. Definitely a broken Pokemon. Definitely a counterable Pokemon. If you have a Water Absorb Pokemon in your Terra Ghost, that like Ursafu can't really do too much to it. I did utilize week 2. That was fun to run the Terra Blast, Terra Stellar to hit Pokemon that it was like Terra Ghost, Lapras. So if I wanted to Terra or Suicune, I wanted to Terra, I would be able to hit that for massive damage. So that was fun. And that worked out against the Volcarona, I think, game 2. I was able to run Terra Blast there. And then I kicked myself for not running that game 1. But yeah, Ursafu, definitely a fun Pokemon. Also doesn't have a lot of coverage. You run Surging Strikes, Close Combat, and I think even like standard VGC sets, like you run Aqua Jet, U-Turn, and these 2 attacking moves. Sometimes it's just Aqua Jet, Surging Strikes, or maybe these 3 attacks and Protect, Aqua Jet over Terra Blast. It didn't have a ton of options, but Surging Strikes with Terra Water or Telestellar add like a boosting item, like Life Orb or Band. Like I wanted to run that every week, but with how the team was built, I think a lot of times I went closer to Terra Poison to be a resist to the grass typing. And also could hit Fairy, which I think was also like a pretty popular Terra type against Ursafu because you resist the fighting move. So at least you're able to hit Fairy types with Poison and with Poison Jab. Like I feel like this was a really nice set in general. Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Poison Jab, Protect. That was like a pretty reliable Ursafu set this season for me. So I would definitely draft that Pokemon again. I think it fell to me just because people before me, I think mainly Viz, used it in the past and didn't want to use it again. So I was definitely very happy with Ursafu. So again, very fun season. Thank you to everybody that participated in SPL Season 3 and everyone that watched. Really appreciate you guys doing that. And hopefully you guys stay around for SPL Season 4 and beyond. And I knew this video is going to take way longer than the 10 minutes I was chatted to a lot for this. Boy. But no, this is a fun season. I wanted to reflect on it. I know AIM did this too, and I had the plan to do this for a while. I've just been busy. It's crazy. So yeah, thank you so much for supporting the channel. And until next time, later guys.